Good afternoon, friends. I am doing my video earlier in the day today than I usually do, and I'm sharing this with you because it's a growth area for me that I'm doing it earlier. I've been noticing in the last, definitely the week, even the last few weeks, I've been waiting to do my video until like the last possible moment in the day. I've been creating this pressure for myself, external pressure, that I have to do the video. It's 4:30 in the afternoon or it's 9 o'clock at night, and if I don't do it right now, I'm not going to be able to do it. And the thought occurred to me today, earlier this afternoon, when am I going to do my video today? And my natural default, because I live by the seat of my pants. That's my default mode. My default answer was, oh, later tonight after the kids go to bed, I probably can spare 5 minutes to do it, because I'm not going to not do it. I committed to doing it. And then I realized I'm creating this pattern of behavior. I'm reinforcing it every day as I do it to create this external pressure to force me almost to do the video. And I don't want to live life that way. And if I'm living life that way when it comes to my videos, I know that I'm living my life in other ways, which I'm just living right up to the edge of I have to do it. So I'm choosing to do my video right now because I don't have to do it right now. I'm choosing to be in a way that takes responsibility internally for what I have committed to do, not just wait until it has to get done to do it. So here we are at 3 o'clock and I'm doing my video. So there's a win for me today. It feels like a small win. In fact, there's a part of me that just wants to write it off as not even a win. And yet I'll pause and say, it's a win. I'm choosing to take action when I didn't have to take action. Because I want to. I choose to. That's who I'm being. This is Infinite Well of Possibility Part 2. Last night was Part 1, which I didn't realize was Part 1. But since now today's Part 2, that means that yesterday was Part 1. And the idea is I went to a recital yesterday for Katie's studio, and my kids were playing, and a bunch of other kids were playing, singing as well. And I saw specifically 3 young ladies stand up and sing that I either had no idea they sang or had no idea they could sing that well. And I realized I've looked at them because I know them from church, and I've never imagined that they would be able to sing that well. And I realized we have an infinite well of possibility inside of us, and it's just a matter of if we're willing to do the work, technically do the work on the vulnerability, authenticity side, to embrace our work and to bring it up to the surface. And I realized that I can see myself as a well, an infinite well of possibility, not just a well, an infinite well of possibility. Everybody else is an infinite well of possibility. There's no telling what kind of art, what type of creativity people are able to produce. There is no limit to what people can do. And I got to ask myself the question, do I truly believe that about me? Do I truly believe that about others? Because I cannot believe it about me if I don't believe it about others. Because the way I see myself is the way I see others. The way I see others is the way that I see myself. Even if it doesn't seem like that at times, I know that has to be true. Because my perspective is fundamentally my perspective. And so if I am an infinite well of possibility, not that I have an infinite well of possibility, but if I am an infinite well of possibility and other people are an infinite well of possibility, that means that anything truly is possible if we're willing to commit the courage, the confidence, the vulnerability to really be authentic in what we do. I think about John Maxwell, who's written 80 plus books. There was a time in his life where he had not written the first word of the first page of his first book. And here he is 80 books in, and we say, well, that's John Maxwell. Well, yeah, that is John Maxwell. He's created that. At some point in his life, he saw the potential that he could write 1 book, then 2 books, and then 10 books, and then 20, 30, 40, 80 books. He is an infinite well of possibility when it comes to creating, more than just creating content, creating a way of communicating that connects so well with people. I think about the girls who got up to sing yesterday. I mean, they're in 5th, maybe 10th, 11th grade, the 3 of them. If they go on and continue to learn and nurture and refine their craft of singing, there is no telling where they might end up. And in 20 years, we might say, well, yeah, that's Malia. Well, no, that's not just Malia. Malia did the work to access that infinite well of possibility when it comes to singing. I see for myself that I am an author. I've not written a book yet. I've started writing 2 or 3 books, but I see myself that I'm an author. There's an infinite well of possibilities. There's an infinite number of books inside of me. It's just a matter of, am I willing to access it? Am I willing to do the work, to sit down and practically do the work, but then also do the work on the authenticity and vulnerability side and really embrace what that book would be about? When I was looking at the piano this morning, I was standing in choir and looking down at the piano on stage, and it occurred to me, there's only 88 keys on a piano. That's it, 88. That's not very many. When you think about the number of songs that have been written in the history of songs, all the way back from like Gregorian chants in the Dark Ages to the newest songs that are being written today, there's only 88 keys on a piano. And of those 88 keys, there's, is it 12? I could count. C, C sharp, D, E flat, E, F, F sharp, G, A flat, A, that's 10, B flat, and B, 12. There's only 12 different pitches. And then the piano just repeats those pitches in different octaves. But let's be honest. You take those 12 keys, and there's an infinite well of possibility in the number of songs that can be written based on those 12 individual notes as we repeat them and we combine them. And to assume that there would never be an opportunity to write a new song again sounds ridiculous. But it's as ridiculous as saying to somebody or saying about myself, well, I could never do that again. I could never match that level of performance again. I could never create something that significant again. No. We are an infinite well of possibility if we choose to. Now, I could play Mary Had a Little Lamb the same way 100 times and complain that there's not a new way of doing it. Well, that's my problem. That's not the piano's problem. The piano offers me 1,000 different ways to play. No. The piano offers me an infinite number of ways to play Mary Had a Little Lamb. Change the melody a little bit, change the rhythm a little bit, change the harmonies a little bit, and just do that over and over and over. There's an infinite number of ways to play Mary Had a Little Lamb. There's an infinite number of ways for me to express my creativity. And I've seen it this way for a couple years now, and I'm seeing it more clearly than ever. That you, that I, that my kids, my coworkers, my clients that I haven't met yet, we all are infinite wells of possibility if we choose to. If we choose to take the thing that we're good at, whatever that gift is, and we refine it and nurture it and create it and tweak it and experiment with it and continue to do so every single day, if we're more concerned about the trajectory of our life, where we're headed, what we're doing with what we have, than just where we are today, if we embrace this experiments never fail mindset, which I've adopted recently as one of my operating philosophies of life, there's an infinite well of possibility in what I can create in ways that I can have significance and impact in people's lives. Danny Bauer and I are hosting a webinar this coming Friday about creating, unlocking creative potential. And we're really clear when we talk about this and the 90-day Unlocking Your Creative Potential Challenge that we're kicking off with that webinar, is that we're not here to instruct somebody how to draw better art. I'm not an artist, Danny's not an artist. We're not here to instruct anybody how to write a book. We're not here to inform anybody that this is our story, this is how we do it, and this is the steps, these are the steps that you have to follow. Not at all. We're not here to instruct. We're not here to inform. We're here simply to draw insights out of your life from what you have inside your infinite well of possibility, and changing perspective and seeing insights and seeing yourself in a new way, stepping into a level of confidence, a level of courage, a level of vulnerability, stepping into an arena where experiments never fail is a true philosophy of life for you. we want to give you the opportunity to see yourself as an infinite well of possibility, that there is no end to the creativity with the gifts that you have. My gifts, I think primarily, are thinking slowly and caring deeply. And I used to run away from those gifts. I used to not even call them gifts. I think they were burdens to me. And I think this is true for a lot of people as they see the gifts that are most powerful about them as burdens, and they run away from them. And yet, in fact, it's not that they're burdens, it's that they are gifts. They are the thing that makes them come alive. And for me, when I get an opportunity to listen slowly, to listen deeply, and to care deeply, to think slowly, that truly is when I come alive. And I think about the ways I've been able to create impact and significance with that. Hey, Matt, it is good to see you. I watched your live earlier today and saw Danny's, and it got me ready in a way for my live today. But the things I've been able to create when I embraced those gifts, I've created group coaching sessions, I've created webinars, I've created different tools that I've helped my clients with have breakthroughs in their lives. And what I know to be true is that as I continue embracing and nurturing and curating these gifts that I have, there is an endless amount of creativity. There's an endless amount of things that I can do to impact people's lives with those gifts. And it's not that I need to change the gifts. It's not that I need to go find new gifts. It's that I need to embrace those gifts and recognize that it's through those gifts that I have significance. It is through those gifts that I can impact the world. It is through those gifts that I live faithfully. It's through those gifts that I elevate those around me to live in such a way that they hear, "Well done, thou good and faithful servant." I'm thinking of, if people aren't an infinite well of possibility, then they're a finite well of possibility. There's a bottom to their possibility. There's a bottom to what they're able to create. I choose not to believe that about anybody. I choose not to believe that anybody on any particular day of their life has peaked when it comes to what they can do. I choose to believe that for everybody, there is more to create from what they have. And by the way, it's not about stepping out today and saying, this is the level of authenticity, this is the level of creativity that I'm going to reach today when we're starting from here. No, not at all. What I choose is that I choose to be creative. If I'm starting from here, and this is the level of creativity that I know how to use in my life, this is the level of impact that I know based on how I've learned to coach, learned to speak, learned to write, learned to communicate, then I choose to live right up to here, the courage and the vulnerability to live right up to my level of creativity. And then as I do that, my level of creativity, my level of authenticity, my level of confidence and courage and vulnerability keeps on rising, and I keep on living up to it. And every day I increase the level of possibility. And I choose to believe that I will never reach the top, or I guess the well would go bottom, right? I choose to believe that I would never reach the bottom of the well of possibility. Which brings in my other operating philosophy. So my two operating philosophies are, the first one is experiments never fail. And the second one is, if you want to go far, go together. Going far embraces the idea of an infinite well of possibility, going as far into that infinite well of creativity, possibility, impact as possible, and creating a team. Danny Bauer talked today about community, how important community is, and taking that community and saying, let's go far together, because together we compound the infinite well of possibility. Let's bring music back into it. When it comes to creating a piece, I play the piano. I can play it pretty well. I can play some pretty cool chords. I can create some pretty cool things there. there's an infinite well of what I can create just at a piano. But you bring in a violin, you bring in another keyboardist, you bring in a saxophone player, you bring in a vocalist, you bring in any other single piece of instrument or a voice, and now we've compounded the infinite well of possibility. And you bring in another piece, another instrument, another vocalist, and not that you can compound the infiniteness, but the possibilities become even greater. And this is the piece about going far, going together, is when I work with Matt, or I work with Danny, I work with Jeff, I work with Steve, I work with Amanda, I work with anybody, we're bringing our two wells, infinite wells of possibility together. And that is when we can go far, like really, truly far, in significance, in impact, in making a difference, in being faithful in our lives. I choose to live from being a well, infinite well of possibility. I choose to see in others an infinite well of possibility. And I may not know what their well holds. I may not know what their possibilities are, but I choose to see them first as possibility. Possibility people first. Not just people first, but possibility people first. Seeing people's possibilities first before I would ever choose to see their limitations. I think I used to always see people's limitations first because I saw my limitations first. I remember telling my mom when I was 11, I was very dejected, very discouraged. I said, Mom, I think everything that's been invented, let me go back. I think everything that ever will be invented already has been invented. There's nothing else to invent. I said this in when I was 11, which was the mid-90s. Imagine all the things that have been invented since then. But Derek, at 11 years old, thought that there were no more inventions left. And here I am today, and what have I grown to see? There's always another invention to create. There's always another piece of music to write. There's always another book to write. There's always another way to see an opportunity. There's always another. There's always another. I choose to live life as if there's always another possibility. Because the alternative is to believe there's not another possibility. That there's just limitations everywhere around us. Well, and there are if we choose to see them as limitations. But oftentimes the limitations are right next to the possibilities. And it's a matter of what I want to choose to embrace. Do I choose to embrace the limitations, or do I choose to embrace the possibilities? And you may say, Derek, I don't know how to choose to see the possibilities. I think first and foremost, just the willingness to see possibilities, you'll start seeing possibilities. When I was thinking about yesterday, this idea about the infinite well of possibility, that's been on my mind. You know, this morning I was standing in choir, looking down at the piano on the keyboard, and I saw, just based on a keyboard, the number of songs that can be written based on a keyboard is infinite. I looked at that piano from that perspective, physically, that perspective before, and I never thought of the infinite well of possibility before. But because I was thinking from a place of infinite well of possibility, I saw an example in music. So first and foremost, to see the world as an infinite place of possibility, see people as infinite wells of possibility is first to choose that there's an infinite well of possibility. And then second of all, is saying, what am I good at? What comes naturally to me that may not come naturally to others? What do I do where I lose track of time, where other people don't lose track of time doing it? What do I get a lot of joy out of? Where do I feel like I get more benefit than work? Like almost an unfair advantage, that I get so much benefit out of this and it really doesn't require that much work. Like almost an unfair advantage. I've heard Danny Bauer talk about this with his piano. The idea that he can sit down and play and just entertain people with playing music, and there's almost no work involved for him. His genius is in his music. There's an infinite well of possibility, and I choose to live from that perspective. Will you? Will you choose to live from an infinite place of possibility? An infinite well of possibility, that you are a well of infinite possibility, that the people around you are an infinite well of possibility, that together we can create more than we can ever imagine. I'm choosing to believe that I have not peaked and I will never peak. because there's always one more piece of creation that's available.